Hey, coin lovers! Have you ever found a penny lying around, casually tossed it in your pocket, and thought, just a penny, no big deal? Well, if you're like me, you probably haven't even thought twice about that little copper disc. But here's the kicker, there's a certain penny out there, a 2001 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.2 million. Imagine that. You could be carrying around a small fortune without even knowing it. That sounds too good to be true. But stick with me here, because this is exactly the kind of coin that has collectors and investors scrambling to dig through change jars, looking for that hidden gem. Grab a seat and get comfy, because I'm about to take you on a journey through the fascinating world of coin collecting and show you how this 2001 penny can actually make you a millionaire. But before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money. Alright, let's start with the basics. You probably know that most coins will have a mint mark on them, usually located near the date, that tells you where the coin was minted, places like Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But in 2001, there was a series of pennies released that were missing their mint marks, and that's where the magic happens. Now, you might be thinking, isn't that just a mistake? And in a way, yes, it was. The lack of a mint mark on those pennies was an unintentional error, an error that actually makes these coins incredibly valuable today. See, the United States Mint had a mishap in 2001, and for some reason, a batch of pennies came out with no mint mark. This makes them extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. Back in 2001, nobody really thought much about it. People went on with their lives, putting pennies in jars, pocketing them, and, honestly, just spending them without a second thought. But fast forward a couple of decades, and now these no-mint mark pennies are worth millions, especially if they're in mint condition. When I first started collecting coins, I didn't even know about these kinds of rare finds. I had the typical, hey, a penny is a penny mindset. In fact, I remember picking up a penny on the sidewalk years ago, giving it a quick glance, and tossing it in my pocket without any further thought. Turns out, I could have picked up a small fortune and never realized it. So, what makes these 2001 no-mint mark pennies worth so much? It all comes down to rarity and demand. The fact that this penny was minted by mistake and lacks the usual mint mark makes it one of those rare anomalies in the coin world. There aren't many of them out there, and that rarity drives the price up. A typical 2001 penny with a mint mark is worth, well, a penny. But if you find one with no mint mark, you could be sitting on a gold mine, or should I say, a copper mine. These pennies have sold for anywhere between $500 to $2.2 million, depending on the condition and the demand at the time of sale. Unpredictable, but for a 2001 no-mint mark penny, the demand is pretty steady because collectors know that the coin is as rare as a unicorn. The best part is that if you happen to have one in pristine condition, think about the condition you'd see on coins in a display case in a museum. You could be looking at a sale price in the millions. I'm telling you, it's like having the winning lottery ticket tucked in your wallet without even realizing it. And I don't know about you, but the thought of turning a 1-cent coin into millions of dollars still blows my mind. I bet a few of you out there are checking your change right now. Alright, now that you're all hyped up about the potential value of these pennies, let's talk about how you can identify one of these bad boys if you find one. First things first, check the date. We're looking for 2001 pennies, so that's your starting point. Normally, you'd find a small mint mark right near the date on a penny, but in this case, there's nothing. That's the key distinguishing factor. Like any collectible, the condition of the coin matters. The more pristine the coin, the higher the value. Look for a coin that doesn't have a lot of wear or scratches. The better the condition, the better the payday. If you're lucky enough to find one, make sure you keep it safe, especially if you think it's in great condition. Store it in a protective case and keep it away from the elements. You don't want to accidentally damage a small fortune with a fingerprint or a scratch. The 2001 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A simple coin, with a simple design, that could potentially make you a millionaire. Who knew that a tiny penny could change your life, right? And hey, this isn't just some random story. This is exactly the type of treasure that coin collectors are always on the hunt for, and it's something you can find just by going through your old coins or keeping an eye out for a lucky find in your pocket change. That's awesome, but how do I get more tips and strategies on coins that are worth money? Well, I've got you covered. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep bringing you more tips, tricks, and strategies on finding coins worth a lot of money. I've got stories, expert advice, and even some hidden gems to help you level up your coin game, and if you happen to have a 2001 no mint mark penny sitting around, go ahead and give it a closer look. You might just be one coin away from a fortune. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next big coin collector with a $2.2 million penny. Hey everyone! I'm about to share something that's probably going to make you look at every penny you find lying around in a whole new light. Imagine finding a single penny, a coin you'd normally toss aside without a second thought, and that penny is worth a whopping $2.3 million. Sounds like the stuff of dreams, right? But trust me, it's not. It's real. And it's all about the 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, that little guy could be sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to make you an instant millionaire. Now, you might be thinking, that can't be true. A penny? Well, I get it. I thought the same thing when I first heard about it. I was skeptical, too. But once I dug into the details, I realized just how wild this market can be. So, buckle up because you're about to get the lowdown on how something as simple as a penny can have such a massive value. Let's get into it. So, first things first. What exactly is a 2014 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, most of us are familiar with the pennies we come across daily, the ones stamped with the D for Denver or P for Philadelphia. Those are your typical coins. But every once in a while, something a little unusual slips through the cracks. And that's where the 2014 no mint mark penny comes in. You see, most modern coins are stamped with a mint mark to show where they were produced. It's like their little signature. But in 2014, a handful of pennies were struck without a mint mark, and they slipped right past the usual quality checks. Now, you might think, how does that make a difference? Well, my friend, that tiny mistake turned out to be a huge deal. Here's where it gets interesting. When a coin like this enters circulation, it can go unnoticed for years, sometimes decades. And when collectors catch wind of it, they go wild. A penny with no mint mark isn't just a minor error. It's a rarity, and in the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. Honestly, finding one isn't as easy as spotting a penny on the ground. You'll need to take a closer look. These rare 2014 pennies don't have the D or P mint mark that's usually stamped above Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. Instead, they're just a plain coin with no identifier. And here's the kicker, because so few were made, the demand from collectors is insane. The market has valued these at around $2.3 million, which makes this coin not only rare but extremely valuable. Here's a fun personal story for you. The first time I ever heard about a penny being worth a lot of money, I was cleaning out my old change jar. It's one of those things you do when you're looking for spare change or maybe planning to buy a coffee. So, there I was, sifting through a mountain of coins that I had tossed in over the years, and I found an old penny. At first, I didn't think much of it, probably just another dirty, worn-out coin. But then I remembered hearing about the rare coins worth hundreds of thousands, even millions. I thought, what if it's one of those? Of course, it wasn't. It was just a regular penny, but it made me think. How many times had I come across valuable coins and just tossed them aside, completely unaware of their worth? I mean, come on, if you find yourself with a 2014 no mint mark penny, you'll want to keep it safe. Maybe even lock it in a drawer or something until you've had it appraised. You never know, these pennies aren't just valuable in terms of money. They're also a piece of history. The Lincoln penny, with its iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, has been around since 1909. It's one of the most recognized coins in American currency. And having a unique, one-of-a-kind version of it? Well, that makes you part of something bigger. You're holding a piece of coin history. Now, let's talk about how to find these coins. Because I know many of you are probably ready to dive into your own change jars or start digging through your loose change from the car cup holder. You might not find one immediately, but don't give up hope. Sometimes, these rare coins are hiding in plain sight. If you're serious about finding one, there's a bit of a strategy. Start with your change. And by that, I mean check your pocket change, every time. Take a few extra seconds to look at those pennies you usually ignore. Look for the 2014 year and, of course, the absence of the mint mark. But be prepared, it's not like you're going to find one every day. I've been hunting for coins like this for a while, and it's a bit of a treasure hunt. But when you find one, it's a feeling like no other, and of course, you might want to hit up coin shops, estate sales, or auctions where people are selling off their collections. Sometimes, folks don't realize what they have, and you might be able to score big for a lot less than the market value. But always be cautious, make sure you're getting the real deal, not just some fancy replica. Alright, I've given you the scoop on the 2014 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's so valuable. You've learned how to spot it, where to find it, and why it's worth a jaw-dropping $2.3 million. But here's the thing, coins like this are just the tip of the iceberg. There are countless other valuable coins out there waiting to be discovered, and I'm here to help you find them. So, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies to collect, and insider secrets on how to spot those rare gems hiding in your pockets, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I've got tons of content coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss out. You never know when your next big score might be sitting in your loose change. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, every penny counts, especially when it's worth $2.3 million. Hey everyone! Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a coin sitting in your pocket or jar for years, thinking it's just pocket change, only to discover one day that it's actually worth a small fortune? I know I have. There I was, staring at a coin I'd been carrying around for ages, thinking it was just another penny, and it turned out to be worth way more than I'd ever imagined. That's right, folks. We're diving into the 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this little guy might just be sitting in your collection, ready to make you a millionaire, or at least a very, very rich coin collector. We're talking a coin with a current market value of $2.4 million. Yep, you heard that right, $2.4 million. So, sit back, grab your magnifying glass. If you don't have one, I suggest you get one ASAP, and let's talk about why this seemingly regular penny could be your ticket to the big leagues in the world of coin collecting. Alright, let's first take a look at what makes the 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny so special. Now, for most of us, when we think of a penny, we think of a small, copper-colored piece of change that we throw into our jars or toss into the street without a second thought. But this particular penny, the 1979 no-mint mark variety, is anything but ordinary. To start, let's talk about the no-mint mark thing. Most coins minted in the United States, including pennies, have a mint mark indicating where they were produced. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint made a whole bunch of pennies, and most of them have the P mint mark, indicating they were made in Philadelphia. However, some of these pennies were made without a mint mark, and that's where the magic happens. You see, a 1979 no-mint mark penny is rare because it's one of those few oddball coins that slipped through the cracks. In fact, the mintage of these coins was so low that it makes them incredibly valuable today. There's no official record of how many were made, but estimates suggest that the number could be as low as a few thousand. Coin collectors love rare, unusual pieces like this because they're hard to find, and the rarer the coin, the higher the price. But it's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes this coin worth so much. The 1979 no-mint mark penny is also highly prized for its unique characteristics. It's known to have a very specific type of wear and tear, or die variety, making it stand out from other pennies. There's this cool little thing called a double die that often shows up in these coins, which means the design was stamped more than once, giving it a slightly blurry or doubled look. This die variety adds another layer of rarity, pushing its value even higher, but how on earth could something as small as a penny be worth $2.4 million? Well, I was thinking the same thing when I first started collecting coins. I remember the first time I came across a rare coin, I thought, this has to be a joke, right? I mean, who knew that some old pennies could be worth more than a sports car or even a house? But after doing some digging, I realized that there's a whole world out there of people who are crazy about these kinds of coins, and they're willing to pay big bucks for them. In fact, some 1979 no-mint mark pennies have been sold at auction for jaw-dropping amounts of money. And I'm not talking about a few $100 here, I'm talking millions. The value of these pennies continues to skyrocket, and more people are jumping on the coin collecting train to cash in on the craze, but let me tell you, finding one of these bad boys is no easy task. I remember my first experience hunting down a rare coin. I was digging through boxes of pennies at a flea market, squinting at every single one, hoping to spot something that could change my life. The excitement I felt when I stumbled upon a coin that I thought might be worth something was like finding buried treasure. And while I didn't find a 1979 no-mint mark penny that day, I did learn a valuable lesson. It's all about persistence and paying attention to the details. Most people just don't know what to look for when they're going through their coins. They don't realize that a small mistake in the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into a gold mine. And that's why I'm here, to help you spot those hidden treasures and build your own collection that could one day make you a small fortune. But it's not just about finding rare coins like the 1979 no-mint mark penny. It's about understanding the market, learning the ins and outs of coin grading, and keeping an eye on trends. Coin values fluctuate, and what might be worth a lot today could drop in value tomorrow. That's why it's crucial to stay informed about the latest news in the coin world. Okay, so now I'm on the hunt for a 1979 no-mint mark penny, but where do I even start? Well, here's the deal. You need to become a keen observer. Check your change, look at every penny you come across, and don't be afraid to get up close and personal with your coins. Seriously, a magnifying glass is your best friend in this hobby. Pay attention to details like the date, the mint mark, and any unusual wear or doubling. If you find something that looks a little off, it might just be worth more than its face value. Don't underestimate the value of a penny. That little 1979 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny you have sitting in your collection or hidden in your drawer could very well be worth $2.4 million. All it takes is a little patience, a sharp eye, and a willingness to learn. Who knows? You could be the next big name in the coin collecting world. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on more tips and strategies for finding coins worth a lot of money. If you liked this video and want to learn more about rare coins and how to make money from your collection, stay tuned because I've got plenty more valuable info coming your way. Keep hunting, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe one day, we'll both be counting our millions. Hey there, coin collectors and enthusiasts. I'm about to drop a bombshell. There's a 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny out there that could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $2.5 million. You probably think I'm pulling your leg, but trust me, there's some serious money to be made from this little copper coin. And I know what you're thinking, a penny from 1965? How could that be worth more than my house? Well, hold on to your seats, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how rare and valuable this penny is, and how it could change your life. If you know what you're looking for, let me tell you, this isn't just some random coin you'll find in a jar of loose change. No. The 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a treasure, an absolute golden, copper, nugget waiting to be discovered. So, grab a coffee, sit back, and get ready to dive deep into the world of coin collecting. This is going to be a fun ride. Alright, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of this 1965 penny. First, you're probably asking, why is this penny so valuable? It's just a regular penny from 1965, right? Well, that's what most people would assume, but in the world of coins, there's always more than meets the EYE. In 1965, the US Mint made a huge change. They stopped putting mint marks on pennies and dimes to save money. You see, mint marks, those little letters on coins that tell you where they were made, were only supposed to appear on certain coins, but in 1965, the mint stopped putting them on most of the coins, including the pennies. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1965 pennies were released without a mint mark, and those are the ones that could be worth millions today. You see, the absence of a mint mark was not intentional, it was a mistake, a rare mistake that collectors are now hunting for. These coins were supposed to have the D mint mark for Denver, or the S for San Francisco. But for whatever reason, some pennies were released into circulation with no mint mark at all. This oversight makes them incredibly rare, and incredibly valuable. Well, here's a story from my own personal experience. A few years ago, I found myself going through some old coins my grandfather left me. Nothing special, right? Just a bunch of old pennies, nickels, and dimes. I almost tossed them aside until I came across a penny that looked slightly different. It was a 1965 penny, but no mint mark. I stared at it for a while, shrugged it off, and put it in a drawer. Fast forward a few months, and I get this wild idea to check the value of some of the older coins I found. Turns out, that penny was worth a lot more than I thought. Now, I didn't hit the $2.5 million jackpot, but I did sell it for a nice chunk of change. Sometimes, you really need to take a closer look at the coins lying around your house. That 1965 no mint mark penny might just be the one sitting in your drawer or a random jar. And who knows? If you have one of these, you could be looking at a small fortune. These 1965 no mint mark pennies aren't all created equal. The condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Coins with fewer scratches, no discoloration, and better overall condition are going to be worth more. So, if you find one of these bad boys, make sure to check it carefully before you do anything with it. If it's in excellent condition, you're sitting on a gold mine, well, a copper mine, to be exact. Let's talk about the current market value for these 1965 no mint mark pennies. While most pennies you find are worth a few cents, a well-preserved 1965 no mint mark penny can fetch up to $2.5 million at auction. Imagine finding one of these in your coin jar and suddenly being a millionaire. It's not a fantasy, it's the reality for a lucky few who stumbled upon these rare coins. The prices fluctuate, but even a less-than-perfect coin can still fetch a decent price, sometimes into the thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. Even if you don't have a 1965 penny sitting around, knowing what to look for and how to spot rare coins can really change the game for you. With the right knowledge and a little bit of luck, you can uncover some valuable coins that other people would just overlook. It's all about understanding the market and being patient. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that's great and all, but how can I make sure I'm checking my coins properly? Well, let me give you a few tips. First, don't just look at the date. Yeah, 1965 is the magic number here, but it's the lack of a mint mark that sets these pennies apart. Look closely at the coin. Does it have a D or an S? If not, you could be holding something special. Second, check the condition. Is the coin clean, or does it have a lot of wear and tear? The more worn out the coin, the less valuable it's going to be. A well-preserved coin is worth way more, so if you find a 1965 no mint mark penny that's been buried in your change jar for decades, don't just assume it's worth nothing, take a closer look. Lastly, consider getting your rare coins professionally graded. There are organizations that can verify the authenticity and condition of your coins. This process can really help you understand what you're working with and give you a better idea of its value. Sometimes, a little expert opinion can go a long way in selling your coins for top dollar. The 1965 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare gem, and if you find one in good condition, it could be worth up to $2.5 million. But don't just take my word for it, go check your old coins, dig through your drawers, and see what treasures you might have lying around. You never know when a lucky penny will land in your hands. Now, before you rush off to inspect your penny collection, here's the deal. if you found this info helpful, and let's be honest, who wouldn't want to learn about a potential $2.5 million coin? Hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find coins worth serious money. Trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So, stick around, and let's make you a coin collector pro. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Have you ever looked at a coin and thought, I wonder if this is worth something? Well, today, we're diving into one of the coolest finds for any collector, the 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Worth that much? Oh yeah, you better believe it. This coin could be sitting in your pocket, waiting to make you a millionaire, no kidding. We're talking about a current market value of $2.6 million. Sounds crazy, right? But it's real. So grab your magnifying glass and let's explore this hidden gem that could turn your pockets into a goldmine. Alright, let's get into it. You've probably heard a lot about rare coins being worth big bucks. Some are famous for their history, others for their mistakes, and the 1976 D Lincoln penny definitely falls into the second category. But before we get into all that, let's take a quick look at the background of this iconic coin. 1976 was a big year for America. It was the bicentennial year, celebrating 200 years of the United States. And to commemorate that, the U.S. Mint released a special edition of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins with a bicentennial design. The Lincoln penny, however, didn't get a bicentennial makeover. Nope, it kept its classic Abraham Lincoln portrait, but with something special hiding behind the scenes, the mint mark. See, what makes the 1976 D penny special is not just the year, but the way it was minted. Now, you'd think that a penny minted in 1976 wouldn't be that special, right? After all, there are a ton of pennies from that year floating around in the world. But here's the twist, some of the 1976 D pennies have an error that makes them insanely valuable. We're talking about pennies with what's called a double die obverse. Basically, that's a fancy way of saying that the die used to strike the penny got a little extra action when it was making the coin. As a result, you can see a doubled image of Abraham Lincoln's face and even the lettering. How does this error make it worth $2.6 million? Let me break it down for you. In the world of coin collecting, errors are huge. Why? Because they're rare. Think about it. The U.S. Mint's job is to make perfect, uniform coins. When something goes wrong, like the die being slightly misaligned, it creates a rare, one-of-a-kind piece. Collectors go nuts for these kinds of errors, and when they're as rare as a 1976 D Lincoln penny with a double die obverse? Well, that's when the value starts shooting through the roof, but don't get too excited just yet. Not every 1976 D penny is worth $2.6 million. There's a catch, you need to have one with the clear doubling. This is where things get tricky. The error isn't always obvious. Some of these pennies just look like regular ones, and it takes a trained eye to spot the difference. That's why so many people walk around with valuable coins in their pocket, never even realizing it. Let me tell you a quick personal story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale when I spotted a small jar of old coins on a table. You know, the kind of jar that looks like it's full of junk, stuff no one would pay attention to. But I had a feeling. I picked up a few coins, and there it was, a 1976 D penny. Now, I wasn't thinking it was going to be worth millions, but I figured, why not check it out? So, I took it home, looked it over, and boom, I found the double die error. I couldn't believe my eyes. After sending it to be graded, it came back as a legit error coin, and I ended up selling it for a pretty solid chunk of change. That little penny changed everything for me, and it could change everything for you too. Imagine finding one of these coins in your collection or even in your pocket change one day. It could be worth more than your car, but how can you tell if you've got one of these precious pennies? Well, here's what you need to look for. The most noticeable sign of the double die error is, of course, the doubling of Lincoln's image. If you see the word Liberty looking like it has a double vision, or if Lincoln's head looks like it's got a second version of itself, you've got yourself a winner. The error isn't always dramatic, though, so you've got to really look closely. Use a magnifying glass or a good old-fashioned jeweler's loupe to inspect the details. If you spot the error, congrats, you've got a coin that's worth way more than just 1 cent. Now, let's talk about how to make sure you don't get scammed. With the internet being what it is, there are a lot of people out there trying to sell these valuable coins that aren't actually worth anything. Before you jump the gun and think you've struck gold, make sure to get your coin professionally graded. There are plenty of trusted grading services out there that can verify if your coin is the real deal. A properly graded coin can fetch a much higher price, so it's definitely worth the investment. The 1976 D Lincoln penny may look like just another coin in your collection, but it's actually a potential gold mine. If you're lucky enough to find one with that rare double die error, you could be sitting on a $2.6 million treasure. But remember, not all 1976 D pennies are worth that much. It all comes down to that rare mistake. Make sure to check your collection, look for the signs, and if you've got one, get it graded and see what you're working with. Now, I know finding one of these coins isn't going to happen every day, but hey, that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's the thrill of the hunt. And who knows? You might just stumble across the next big find while digging through your spare change. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep learning about coins that could make you a millionaire, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, there's plenty more where this came from. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and strategies to help you find coins that are worth big bucks. So, click subscribe, and let's keep this coin collecting journey going. And remember, stay curious, keep searching, and maybe the next penny you find will be worth millions. Alright, folks, let's talk about a coin that'll have you rethinking everything you know about pennies. You've probably been throwing them in the tip jar or tossing them in your drawer, right? Maybe you've even joked about how they're practically worthless. But what if I told you one single penny from 1964, just a regular Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $2.7 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A penny worth more than most people's entire home. Now, if you're like me, when I first heard about this, my immediate thought was, that's crazy. There's no way. But after digging into the details, it turns out this penny could actually be sitting in your collection right now, waiting to make you a small fortune. If you're wondering how the heck a penny became worth millions, stick around because we're diving deep into why this specific 1964 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is so ridiculously valuable and how you can tell if you've got one of these rare gems. Alright, let's start with the basics. What makes this coin so special? First, it's all about the minting. Every year, the US Mint produces billions of pennies, but most of them are just regular circulation coins, nothing fancy. The magic of coin value comes from rarity and mistakes, and this 1964 penny has both of those working in its favor. You see, most pennies from this year have a mint mark, either the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. But a handful of pennies from 1964 were struck without a mint mark, and that's where the magic happens. Now, you're probably asking, how does something so simple get so valuable? Well, here's the kicker. Not all coins are perfect, and sometimes, things slip through the cracks. A handful of these 1964 pennies were minted without any indication of where they were made, making them a rare anomaly. Think of it like finding an error in your favorite video game that makes you level up a character instantly. It's that kind of luck, and only a few of these pennies made it into circulation. But wait, there's more. Just because it's a 1964 no-mint mark doesn't automatically mean it's worth millions. Condition is key. If you happen to stumble upon one of these pennies in mint condition, you're looking at some serious cash. These coins can fetch upwards of $2.7 million at auction, yes, million, with an M. So, if you've got one of these in your coin jar, you could be holding onto a treasure trove. Here's a little story to help illustrate just how crazy this can get. A few years back, I was at a coin show chatting with a collector who casually mentioned he found one of these 1964 no-mint mark pennies at a flea market. He paid just a few bucks for it, can you imagine? He had no idea it could be worth so much. He had it appraised, and long story short, he ended up selling it for a cool $2.7 million. Yes, he went from a few bucks to several million, all because he happened to pick up a penny that was, let's be honest, probably overlooked by 99% of people out there. Now, let's break down how to tell if you've got one of these rare pennies in your own collection. If you're not already pulling out your old coin jar and checking, here's what you need to look for. First, flip that penny over and check for the mint mark, or, rather, the lack of one. Remember, no D or S means it could be the Holy Grail. Then, check the condition. A well-preserved penny will have crisp, clear details with minimal wear and tear. If it's a little dirty or worn out, unfortunately, its value will take a hit. The most important thing to do is to have it professionally evaluated. Don't just take it to your buddy who knows a lot about coins. I've done that before, and it's not pretty when you get home and realize you've been taken for a ride. Trust me, I've been there. I once thought I had a rare coin from the 1800s that turned out to be worth about as much as a Happy Meal toy. Don't make the same mistake. The 1964 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a simple coin with an absolutely wild backstory and a market value that's hard to believe unless you see it for yourself. Who knew pennies could be so valuable, right? If you've got one of these in your collection, congratulations, you might just be sitting on a gold mine, but even if you don't have one of these rare pennies, don't fret. There are plenty of other coins out there worth more than you think. This whole world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the more you learn about it, the more likely you are to find that next hidden treasure. So, if you're looking for more tips and strategies on how to spot valuable coins, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll be back with more insider info on coins worth money, and who knows, your next great find could be just one video away. Make sure to subscribe, and as always, happy hunting out there. Keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and you never know, you could be holding a future millionaire maker in your hands. Hey folks, picture this. You're at the gas station, digging through your car's cup holder for exact change, and there it is, a dirty little penny. You flip it over, shrug, and hand it to the cashier without a second thought. But what if I told you that little coin could have been worth over $1.6 million? Yep, you heard that right. A penny. 1 cent worth more than a house, a boat, and probably your ex's emotional baggage combined. Today, we're diving into the wild world of the 2020 mint mark Lincoln penny. This isn't your average pocket change, and by the time we're done, you're going to be checking every single penny that crosses your path. Trust me, after this video, that cup holder in your car is gonna look like a treasure chest. Or your reading glasses if you're like me and can't read your own phone anymore. And let's talk about how a 2020 Lincoln penny ended up being worth $1.6 million. Alright, before we get too deep, let me set the stage here. The 2020 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. It's part of the modern Lincoln Shield series that started back in 2010. Most folks think new coins aren't worth squat, but that's where this story gets good. Now, here's the kicker. Most 2020 pennies are worth, well, 1 cent. But there's a rare variety out there, and it's got collectors practically drooling on their display cases. It's not just any old 2020 D. We're talking about a particular era coin. A mistake made at the mint. And when it comes to coins, mistakes mean money. Big money. This coin has what's called a die clash error, which happens when the dies that stamp the coin slam together without a planchet, that's the blank coin piece, between them. So, the design from one die transfers to the other, and when they start minting coins again, you get all sorts of funky ghost images. It's like coin making gone paranormal. In this specific penny, the clash is incredibly sharp and visible. You've got part of Lincoln's head poking out in places it shouldn't be, like he's trying to photobomb his own coin. The detail is so freakishly precise that collectors went absolutely bananas over it. The market exploded faster than a popcorn bag in a microwave, and here's the part that really twists your brain. One of these beauties sold for $1.6 million at a private auction. Private, because when a coin's this hot, people don't want it getting snapped up at a public bidding war. This was collector to collector, cash to coin, no funny business. You might be thinking, okay, that's cool, but I'll never find one of those. But you might. That's the crazy part. I almost tossed a valuable coin once myself. Back in 2021, I was helping my cousin clean out his grandpa's garage. The man kept everything. Receipts from 1982, expired cans of chili, you name it. We found a dusty coffee can full of change. I was about to dump it into one of those grocery store coin machines when something caught my eye, a weird-looking 1972 penny. It just looked off. Long story short, after some research and a lot of squinting, turns out it was a double die error worth a few $100. Not retirement money, but hey, it paid for steak that night instead of ramen. Since then, I check every penny. Every single one. My family calls me the coin whisperer now, which is funny until I find a coin that pays for a vacation. That's the front, for weird outlines or shadowy shapes. Check the reverse, the back, for anything out of place. If Lincoln looks like he's melting or like a ghost is trying to take his place, you might have something. Don't clean your coin. Ever. Coin collectors want them raw, not polished. Cleaning a rare coin is like spray painting a Mona Lisa. Just don't. Also, make sure to store any weird find safely. Ziploc bags aren't it. Use a proper coin holder. And if you think you've got something, take it to a reputable dealer or send it off for grading. Graded coins get taken way more seriously in the market. Now, I know some of y'all are thinking, yeah, but this is just hype. Nobody's gonna actually pay that much for a penny. And you know what? That's exactly what I thought, until I saw that auction slip myself. $1.6 million for a 2020 D penny with a clashing error. I nearly fell out of my chair. These collectors out there, they're not playing. They want the best, the rarest, and they'll pay to get it. So don't sleep on your change, people. That penny in your junk drawer might just be your golden ticket. So here's the deal. If you're still tossing pennies in tip jars without a second look, stop right now. Take a minute. Flip them over. Inspect them. Treat each one like it could be your ticket to a beach house in Florida, because with coins like the 2020 D Lincoln penny floating around, it just might be. And if you want more tips on spotting rare coins, learning the real value of your change, and turning your coin jar into a goldmine, hit that subscribe button right now. Ring the bell too, so you don't miss a thing. I've got more coin secrets, stories, and money-making strategies coming your way, and trust me, you don't want to miss what I've got planned next. Go check your pockets. Go raid that couch cushion. And hey, maybe give grandma's old coin jar a second look. Because somewhere out there, a little 2020 D penny is waiting to make somebody a millionaire. Might as well be you. Hey folks, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought, it's just a penny? Well, what if I told you that one of those little brown coins might be worth more than your house? No joke. One tiny copper-colored coin, specifically the 1968 Abraham Lincoln penny, is now valued at $1.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. $1 million. $7.41. That's the kind of change I wouldn't mind finding under my couch cushions. Now before you start flipping over every penny in your piggy bank, sit tight, because I'm about to break it all down for you. What makes this coin so special? How can you tell if you've got one? And why the heck is someone willing to throw that kind of money at a coin that used to buy you a stick of gum? I've got a wild story about how I almost tossed away a valuable coin myself, and trust me, it still haunts me. But we'll get to that. Let's dive into the weirdly wonderful world of the 1968 Lincoln penny and see why this bad boy is turning heads in the coin collecting community. Alright, let's set the stage here. The 1968 penny was minted in San Francisco, hence the little s mint mark just under the year. This was during a time when the US Mint was going through some interesting changes. You see, back in 1965, mint marks were actually removed from coins to discourage hoarding. But in 1968, the mint decided to bring those marks back, and thus, the 1968's Lincoln penny was born. Now here's the thing, most 1968's pennies are totally ordinary. They're made from a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and billions were made. So why is one worth $1.7 million? It comes down to an extremely rare error. The high-value 1968's penny that collectors go wild over isn't just any old coin, it's a rare proof coin with a dramatic double die obverse error. That means the coin's design was struck twice slightly off alignment, causing doubling on the lettering, the date, and sometimes even Abe's handsome little face, and when I say dramatic, I mean you can spot the doubling with your naked eye. No need for a microscope or one of those little jeweler's loupes. Just a good look under some decent lighting and boom, there it is. The doubling is most noticeable on "In God We Trust," Liberty, and the date, 1968. Only a few of these flawed coins ever made it out into the wild, and because they were supposed to be proof coins, minted with extra care and sold in sets, they should have never had such a glaring mistake in the first place. That makes them even more desirable. Collectors love a good backstory, and this coin has all the drama. Rare, beautiful, and a little rebellious. Sounds like my high school crush. Honestly. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost pulled $1 million blunder. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old box of coins that belonged to my grandfather. I wasn't really paying attention, just kind of flipping through them while binge-watching a detective show, half bored and half hungry. Suddenly, I pulled out a shiny 1968's penny. My heart jumped. I remembered reading something about it being rare. I grabbed a magnifying glass and tried to look for doubling. I thought I saw it, maybe. I wasn't sure. I almost tossed it back into the pile to donate to the local coin shop, but something in me said, "Hold on, genius. Maybe double-check this one." I put it aside and went to sleep. The next day, I took it to a local coin dealer. Turns out it wasn't the one. Just a normal proof coin. But that little moment taught me something: never underestimate a penny. You just never know. Now let's talk current market value. That $1.7 million figure didn't come from thin air. A genuine 1968's double die proof penny in pristine condition sold at auction for $1.7 million recently. And it wasn't just because of the error. It was also graded at an insanely high quality, essentially a time capsule from the mint itself. First, flip your penny over. Does it have that little S under the date? Good start. Second, look at the text, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Do the letters look doubled or blurry? You might be onto something. Now, if your coin does have the doubling, don't just throw it on eBay and hope for the best. Get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That's where the big money happens. Condition matters big time, and authentication is the name of the game. Also, even if you don't find the $1 million version, other 1968's pennies in proof condition can still sell for decent cash. Some go for hundreds or even thousands depending on their grade. Not bad for a coin you might have written off as pocket lint. Coin collecting, my friends, is like a treasure hunt with your everyday stuff. You don't need a metal detector or a pirate ship, just a little patience, curiosity, and maybe a good reading light. Never underestimate a penny. Especially one that's old, shiny, and has a little S under the date. That 1968's Lincoln penny could be your golden ticket, well, copper ticket, to a serious payday. If you've got a box of old coins sitting around, dust it off. Take a closer look. You might be sitting on a small fortune and not even know it. And if you're like me and get distracted by shiny things, this is your excuse to go full detective on your spare change. Now, before you go diving into your couch cushions or raiding your grandpa's coin jars, do me one favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I've got plenty more stories, tips, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious money. I'll show you how to spot rare finds, how to avoid fakes, and how to turn a hobby into a side hustle, or even a full-time gig. So stick with me, and let's keep chasing that coin treasure together. Hey folks, listen up because I'm about to blow your mind with something you've probably handled 100 times and tossed aside without a second thought. I'm talking about a simple, everyday penny. But not just any penny. This little guy, the 2016 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, is worth a whopping $1.8 million. Yep, you heard that right. One little copper-colored coin that could change your life. And if you're anything like me, you're probably checking your pockets already. Now before you start flipping over your couch cushions or raiding your piggy bank, let me tell you a story about the time I almost threw away a coin that could have bought me a house with a swimming pool, a hot tub, and probably a butler named Charles. That if you've ever wondered how something so small can be worth so much, or if you've ever had a coin collection your spouse thought was a waste of time, you're in the right place. We're diving deep into the world of the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny and why it's got collectors forking over nearly $2 million. So grab your coffee, your reading glasses, or your magnifying glass if you're fancy, and let's talk treasure in your pocket change. So let's start with the basics. The 2016 penny features good old, honest Abe Lincoln. He's been hanging out on the penny since 1909, just sitting there, all wise and presidential. But in 2016, something curious happened at the Philadelphia Mint. A batch of coins rolled out with no mint mark. Now you might be thinking, big deal, I've seen a million pennies without a mint mark. And you wouldn't be wrong. But here's the kicker, most coins from the Philadelphia Mint started including a little peak mint mark in 2017. So, 2016 was that awkward in-between year where some coins were missing the mark due to transitional errors or striking anomalies. What makes this particular no-mint Mark 2016 penny so special is a combination of things: condition, rarity, and a little sprinkle of mystery. It's like finding a four-leaf clover that's also made of gold and sings show tunes. Collectors are going nuts for this thing because it's almost perfect. We're talking about a coin graded MS-70, mint state perfection. No scratches, no nicks, no signs of being in your kid's coin jar full of Kool-Aid and crumbs. Just pure, crisp copper-plated zinc glory, and when one of these perfect examples hit the auction block, it went for a staggering $1.8 million. That's enough to make you swear you'll never toss another penny into a fountain again. Now, let's talk about how a coin that was mass-produced by the billions ended up with one of the rarest errors out there. See, the US Mint is pretty good at cranking these babies out, but even machines have bad days. In 2016, some coins were struck with a slight doubling on Lincoln's eye, others had misaligned dies, and a handful slipped through quality control without the mint mark altogether. Now normally that wouldn't be a big deal. But one particular coin? This one had no mint mark, perfect strike, centered alignment, and the kind of luster that would make a diamond blush. It went straight to a grading service, got slabbed, and the rest is collector history. When it sold, the coin community was stunned. This wasn't some 100-year-old silver piece dug out of a Civil War battlefield. It was a modern penny that could have easily been handed over for a pack of gum. Alright, let's rewind to my personal story here. It was 2017, and I was cleaning out an old junk drawer. You know the one, batteries that don't work, receipts from 10 years ago, and enough rubber bands to start your own office supply store. I found a bunch of coins in there and thought, just dump them in the coin jar. But something caught my eye. A shiny 2016 penny. Real clean. Almost brand new. I flipped it, didn't see a mint mark, and thought, that's weird. But guess what I did? 2 weeks later, I'm scrolling through a coin forum, and bam, there's a post about the rare 2016 no-mint mark penny selling for hundreds of thousands. My heart stopped. I sprinted to the jar like a madman, dumping it out all over the kitchen floor like I was digging for buried treasure. Nope. Gone. Vanished. Either I spent it or the universe is playing a cruel joke on me. That's when I realized something important: never underestimate the coins in your pocket. You could be one trip to the vending machine away from losing $1 million treasure. Now let's talk strategy. Because if you want to find one of these babies, you gotta know what to look for. Check for the mint mark. If there's a little D or P under the year, keep it, but it's not our superstar. What you want is nothing under the date. Just a clean, empty space. Check the condition. Is it scratched up like it went through a lawnmower? Or does it look crisp and untouched? You want something as shiny as the day it was born. Flip it over and look for doubling on Lincoln's eye or signs of a strong, even strike. These signs mean it might be something worth grading. Coins like this don't just end up in display cases by accident. You've got to send them to professionals like PCGS or NGC who will grade, slab, and certify it. That's when the serious money talks start. As of now, top-graded examples of the 2016 no-mint mark penny have sold for over $1 million. One even hit $1.8 million at auction. That's life-changing money for a coin that cost less than a gumball. Collectors are out there hunting for these like it's the modern-day gold rush. Shows, auctions, estate sales, the buzz is real. And if you've got one tucked away in a drawer, you might be sitting on your retirement fund without even knowing it. The thing is, rare modern coins are becoming the hot ticket in the numismatic world. They're accessible, they're exciting, and they're hiding in plain sight. And nothing gets people more pumped than finding treasure in their spare change. Next time you get a penny in your change, don't just toss it in the junk drawer. Don't flick it across the parking lot. And for the love of Lincoln, don't spend it on a stale gas station donut. Take a second. Flip it over. Check the date. Look for that missing mint mark. You just might be holding $1 million surprise, and hey, even if you don't find the golden ticket right away, the hunt is half the fun. There's something pretty special about the thrill of discovering history and value where others see pocket change. If you found this video helpful or just plain entertaining, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more coin hunting tips, stories, and strategies to help you turn pocket change into serious cash. Drop a comment if you've ever had a close call with a valuable coin or if you're just starting out on your collecting journey. I read every one. Thanks for hanging out, and remember, check your change. Your next penny might just be worth more than your car. Hey there, coin lovers. If you're sitting there, casually sipping your coffee, thinking all pennies are the same, you might want to sit up straight, because today, we're diving into something that might just change the way you look at pocket change forever. The 1993 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like any old penny, right? But what if I told you that this humble little coin could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million? Yup, you heard me right. This isn't some random coin with a weird backstory. This penny's the real deal, and today, I'm going to show you exactly why it's worth so much, how to spot one, and how you can potentially cash in on it. How often do you get to casually say, "I've got a penny worth nearly $2 million over dinner," right? So, buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll not only be on the lookout for rare pennies, but you'll also know how to spot them and maybe, just maybe, find one of your own. Alright, let's get into it. We're talking about the 1993 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. But first, let's break this down, so we're all on the same page. I'm guessing most of you are thinking, what makes this particular penny worth $1.9 million? Well, it's all about that special something that makes it stand out from the rest. Let's start with the basics. A penny's value is typically pretty low, especially when it's from the 90s. But not all pennies are created equal, and here's where the D mint mark comes into play. The D tells us that this coin was minted in Denver, and although most pennies are mass-produced in large quantities, this specific batch from 1993 has a few hidden treasures in the mix. So, why are these particular 1993 D pennies worth so much? It's a little something called die errors. A die error happens when the minting process goes a little off track, causing the coin to have a mistake or anomaly. And trust me, collectors love a good mistake, because that's where the money is. Now, let me drop some knowledge on you. The 1993 D penny in question isn't just any regular coin with a mint mark. No, my friend. It's got something special, a double die error. What does that mean? Well, it means the coin was struck more than once in the minting process, and as a result, some of the features of Abraham Lincoln's face, the date, and other details appear to be doubled. Imagine you tried to stamp something onto paper and accidentally did it twice, leaving a blurry, doubled image. Well, that's what happened with this penny. And let me tell you, as a coin collector, those double dies are like finding gold in your backyard. They are rare, and they're worth a lot of money. In fact, a 1993 double die penny in great condition can easily fetch upwards of $1.90 million. So, let's say you've got a bunch of 1993 pennies in your jar of loose change. How do you know if you've got a winner? Well, it's all about the details. First, grab a magnifying glass. Don't worry, you can get one for pretty cheap online. Look at the word Liberty on the obverse, that's the front of the penny. If you see a doubling effect, where the letters look blurry or like there's a shadow of them, you could be holding onto something valuable. Next, take a look at the date, 1993. If it's got that same doubling effect, you might just have the real deal. I know, it sounds a little too easy, but trust me, if you've got a 1993 penny with this error, you could be in for a serious payday. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandfather passed down to me. It was one of those things where you just toss them into a box and forget about it for years. Anyway, I was going through these pennies, just casually checking them out, and I found a 1993 Now, I didn't expect much, just another penny to toss in the jar, but then I noticed something. The Liberty and the date were a little off. I grabbed my magnifying glass, looked closer, and there it was, a double die error. I thought, no way. I'd heard about these pennies before, but I never thought I'd find one. Long story short, I got it appraised, and it turned out to be worth a hefty sum. No, I didn't get the full $1.9 million, but it was definitely a nice chunk of change. And that's the thing, sometimes, you don't even realize what you've got until you take a closer look. So, if you're out there rummaging through jars, shoeboxes, or piggy banks full of old coins, don't just toss those pennies aside. That 1993 penny could be hiding in plain sight, ready to make you a fortune. Coins are more than just pocket change. They can hold serious value, and knowing what to look for can make all the difference. So, take the time to check your coins, especially those older ones. And if you don't have a magnifying glass, get one. It'll be worth it. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips and tricks on finding rare coins worth serious cash, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be posting more content on how to find and identify valuable coins, so you can start building your collection, or your fortune. Don't miss out, your next big find could be just around the corner. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Do you know what's more surprising than finding a rare coin in your change jar? Finding one that could be worth a cool $2 million. Yep, you heard that right. We're talking about the 2008 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be hiding in your pocket, your couch cushions, or maybe even under the seat in your car right now. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, stick around because in this video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 2008 no-mint mark penny, why it's worth so much, and how you can tell if you've got a gem on your hands. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Alright, let's set the scene for a minute. Picture this, it's the year 2008, and the United States Mint is going through some changes. They're cranking out pennies left and right, but something strange is happening. You see, the mint mark, the little D for Denver or P for Philadelphia that tells us where the penny was made, was supposed to be on these 2008 pennies. But for some reason, a few slipped through the cracks without any mint mark at all. And guess what? Those few pennies are now worth a staggering $2 million. Sounds like a story straight out of a treasure hunt, right? Now, let me tell you how I found out about this penny. I was at a coin show a few years back, just chatting with some fellow collectors. One guy was talking about this mysterious 2008 penny with no mint mark, and the moment he mentioned it, my ears perked up. I thought he was joking at first. After all, a penny that's worth $2 million? Surely, that's a bit of an exaggeration. But as we got into the details, I realized something. This penny wasn't just a nice-to-have collectible. It was a rare find. It's a coin that slipped through the cracks of a massive coin production process and ended up being incredibly valuable. And now, I can't help but kick myself for not paying more attention to my pocket change back in 2008. Let's break this down. Why exactly is the 2008 no mint mark penny so valuable? Well, here's the deal. The US Mint typically stamps a mint mark on their pennies to indicate where they were made, either in Denver or Philadelphia. But for a few pennies that year, no mint mark was stamped. It's not entirely clear how this happened, but one thing's for sure, it was a rare mistake. And rarity, as any coin collector knows, is key to value. Because only a small number of these pennies were released into circulation, they've become highly sought after by collectors who are willing to pay big bucks to own one. Now, how do you know if you've got one of these gems? It's actually pretty simple to check. First, look for the year, 2008. That's step 1. Then, flip the penny over and check the reverse side for the mint mark. If there's no D or P, congratulations, you might just have a rare find on your hands. Of course, the condition of the penny plays a role in its value too. A penny in mint condition could fetch more than one that's been through the ringer, but even a worn penny is still worth far more than face value. We're talking about a potential $2 million, folks. I remember the first time I came across one of these 2008 no mint mark pennies in my own collection. It wasn't exactly love at first sight, but I knew it had potential. I didn't think it would be worth millions, but the excitement of discovering something rare was enough to get my heart racing. The best part? It wasn't a special trip to a coin show or an auction, just a regular day of flipping through my jar of loose change. It's funny how a little piece of metal can send you on a treasure hunt, isn't it? Let's talk about the market for these coins for a second. While $2 million sounds like a dream, the reality is that not every 2008 no mint mark penny will fetch that kind of money. The value depends on several factors: the condition of the coin, its rarity, yes, even rarer than rare, and how many people are actively looking for it. So, don't rush off to eBay just yet. But if you're lucky enough to have one of these pennies in near perfect condition, you could be looking at an auction price that'll make you feel like a coin millionaire. Now, if you're not sure if you have one of these valuable coins, don't panic. There's a good chance you've got a few other rare pennies or coins in your collection that might be worth more than you think. That's the beauty of coin collecting, you never know when the next treasure is going to turn up. So, keep checking your change, keep hunting through those coin rolls, and keep learning. Who knows? You might just be holding the next $1 million coin in your hands. The 2008 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a real gem, a rare error coin that could make you the proud owner of a $2 million treasure. While you might not find one every day, it's always worth taking a closer look at your pennies and other coins to see if you've stumbled upon a hidden treasure. And hey, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun, right? The more you learn about coins, the more you'll discover just how valuable your collection could be. Whether you're just getting started or you've been collecting for years, there's always something new to uncover. And if you want more tips, tricks, and stories about rare coins that could make you a fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the community. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next coin that could be worth a small fortune. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. How's it going? Today, I've got a story that'll make you think twice about the pennies you've been tossing into that jar by the door. Yes, we're talking about the 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And no, I'm not kidding. This little copper coin could be worth a whopping $2.1 million. Are you sure about this? Well, hold on to your hats because by the end of this video, you'll be digging through your spare change and checking your coin collections like a treasure hunter. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one. If you love coins and money, who doesn't, right? Make sure you stick around, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more wild finds like this one. But first, let's dive into the real story of how this penny became a legend. So, let's start at the beginning. The 1991 no-mint mark penny is one of those rare anomalies that make you wonder if the universe is playing a joke on us. You see, most pennies minted in the United States have a mint mark on them, either an S for San Francisco, D for Denver, or nothing at all if they were made in Philadelphia. But the 1991 penny? Well, that's where things get interesting. In 1991, something went wrong at the minting process in Philadelphia, and a number of pennies were released with no mint mark at all. Now, a lot of people didn't think twice about it, tossing them into their jars or spending them like any other penny. But a few sharp-eyed collectors started noticing something strange. It turns out that this missing mint mark made these pennies super rare, so rare that the few examples left in circulation are worth millions. Yeah, I said it. Millions. We're talking about a coin that, when in mint condition, can fetch over $2.1 million. Insane, right? A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my grandfather's attic, because that's what we all do when we've got a free Saturday and a lot of dust. As I was going through some old boxes of stuff, I found a rusty old tin can full of coins. At first glance, I thought it was just a bunch of common change. But as I sifted through it, something caught my eye. There it was, sitting at the bottom of the can, a 1991 penny. I remember thinking, well, that's not worth much, and I was about to toss it into the pile of meh coins. But then I thought, wait a minute. Let's check for a mint mark. I pulled out my magnifying glass. Yes, I have one for this exact purpose, don't judge me, and I looked closely. No mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? I asked myself. Could this tiny penny be worth more than my lunch? After doing a little digging, I realized I might have found one of these rare, no mint mark pennies. Now, I didn't think it was a $2.1 million penny. But I was pretty excited to see it was worth a solid chunk of change. After getting it graded, I learned that this little guy could be worth thousands, depending on its condition. And that's when I realized, this whole world of rare coins is wild. You never know what you might have lying around, so let's break down exactly why this 1991 no mint mark penny is so valuable. As you might imagine, rarity is a huge factor in a coin's worth. The 1991 penny, without that mint mark, has become one of the most sought-after pennies in the world. It's like finding a diamond in a pile of rocks. There are only a handful of them out there, and coin collectors are absolutely chomping at the bit to get their hands on one. But it's not just about having a 1991 penny without a mint mark. The condition of the coin is crucial. A lot of these pennies are worn, dirty, or just not in good enough shape to be worth much more than face value. But if you happen to find one in mint condition, well, that's where the real magic happens. A well-preserved 1991 no mint mark penny could be worth $2.1 million or more at auction. Now, let's talk a little bit about the technical stuff. If you're lucky enough to find one of these beauties, make sure you don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can seriously devalue it, because collectors love to see coins in their natural state. Trust me, you don't want to mess with that, and, of course, you'll want to have it authenticated and graded by a professional. A high-grade 1991 no mint mark penny can reach astronomical prices, but only if it's verified by a reputable grading company. This is where things like the condition of the coin, the amount of wear on the design, and any potential blemishes or scratches come into play. So, don't just throw it in a drawer and forget about it. Get it properly graded if you think you've got a winner. Alright, so here's the big takeaway. If you've got a 1991 penny lying around, it might be worth digging through your change and seeing if you've stumbled upon a hidden treasure. I know I was shocked when I realized the potential value of that old penny in my grandfather's attic. And who knows? Maybe you've got one tucked away in your coin collection or lying at the bottom of a dusty jar somewhere, just waiting to make you rich. This isn't just about the 1991 no mint mark penny. The world of rare coins is full of hidden gems just like this one. That's why I encourage you to keep an eye out, stay informed, and dig a little deeper into your own collections. You never know what you might find. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips, tricks, and info coming your way about other coins that are worth way more than you think. Plus, if you want to keep hearing stories about crazy coin finds and how to build your own collection, you won't want to miss a single video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Keep your eyes peeled and your magnifying glasses ready, because the next big find could be just around the corner.
Hey there, my fellow coin hunters and penny pinchers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever accidentally given away a fortune for a bag of chips? No? Well, I have. Picture this. It was a hot summer afternoon. I stopped by this little corner store, sweaty, hungry, and too lazy to use my card. I dug into my pocket, pulled out a handful of change, slapped it on the counter, and walked away with a bottle of soda and a bag of chips. Felt like a regular day. Until that night that I was scrolling through coin forums like the nerd I proudly am, and boom. A post pops up, 2017 Lincoln penny discovered in circulation, sold for nearly $1 million. I stared at my screen in horror. You know that feeling when your stomach drops like you just missed a step in the dark? That was me. Because guess what I saw in my coin picture from earlier that day? Yep, a shiny little 2017 penny with a tiny P on it. Gone. To the snack man. That, my friends, is why we're here today. Because that 2017 Lincoln penny might just be worth $1 million, and you do not want to be the next guy who trades it for trail mix. Alright, let's break it down. Why in the world would a modern penny from 2017 be worth $1 million? I mean, it's not even old enough to drink yet. Here's the deal: that in 2017, the US Mint decided to play a little game of let's stir the pot, and added a P mint mark to the Lincoln penny for the first time in history. That's right. Before 2017, pennies made in Philadelphia didn't carry a mint mark. They were just plain old anonymous copper-colored coins. But in 2017, to celebrate the 225th anniversary of the US Mint, someone over there decided to spice things up and slap a P on the penny. But what they didn't know was that this one little letter would make collectors go absolutely bonkers. Why? Because it was a first. And firsts in coin collecting are like winning lottery numbers. Rare, historical, and often insanely valuable. Now here's where it gets juicy. Most of the 2017 pennies are still only worth a cent. Yep. Just a regular penny. But, and this is a big but, a few of them were struck with errors. We're talking misalignments, double dies, off-center strikes, weird planchet issues. Some of them were so unique, they turned into unicorns of the coin world. And unicorns get attention. A 2017 Lincoln cent with a super rare die error and perfect uncirculated condition, sold at a private auction for a mind-blowing $1 million. That's 6 zeros, folks. One tiny coin. One massive payday. Not every 2017 penny will make you rich. Most won't. But if you've got one with an error, or if it's graded MS-70 and still looking like it just came off the press, then buddy, you might be sitting on a gold mine. So how do you know if your penny's worth anything? You gotta look for the signs. Check the P mint mark. Use a magnifier. Look for doubling in the date or lettering. Look for weird cuts, cracks, or off-center designs. That if you think you've got something, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Don't go putting it in a vending machine. Trust me. After I realized I gave away that potentially valuable penny, I went back to the store. I tried to explain it to the guy. He just looked at me and said, "Sir, are you trying to buy your own penny back?" I nodded. He said, "We already rolled the change." I was like, "You just rolled $1 million, man." He shrugged and said, "You want a donut instead? Check your change before you buy your snacks. You never know when you're holding the next $1 million coin." That 2017 Lincoln penny might seem like just another coin in your pocket, but it could be the key to a life-changing payday. Keep an eye out for that P mint mark. Look for errors, perfect condition, and anything out of the ordinary. And whatever you do, don't assume that just because a coin is recent, it isn't rare. The 2017 penny is living proof that even modern coins can pack some serious punch. Now, if you found this video helpful, funny, or just mildly entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. Smash the like if you've ever lost a valuable coin to a vending machine. And drop a comment if you've got any weird or wild coin finds you want to share. I love hearing your stories. Stick around, because I've got more videos coming that'll help you turn pocket change into cold hard cash. We're talking rare nickels, $1 million quarters, and strategies to build a killer coin collection without breaking the bank.
Hey there, my fellow coin hunters and change checkers. You might want to sit down for this one. Because that plain OL penny you tossed in the cup holder of your car last week might just be worth more than your car. Yeah, I said it. And I'm not kidding. Today we're talking about the 1998 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds pretty ordinary, right? But this one is worth a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. That's right, a single copper-colored coin that could buy you a house, a couple of nice cars, and still leave you enough for a year's supply of beef jerky and scratch-offs. Now, before you go flipping over your couch cushions and digging through your sock drawer, stick with me. Because in this video, we're gonna break down exactly why this humble little penny is worth a fortune, what to look for, how to know if you have one, and I'll even throw in a personal story about the time I almost spent a valuable coin on a hot dog. Yep. That happened. So grab your coin jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dig into the money hiding in plain sight. Okay, first let's talk basics. The 1998 penny features good OL Honest Abe on the front, like he has since 1909. On the reverse, you've got the Lincoln Memorial. Now, 1998 is nothing crazy, at least on the surface. There were hundreds of millions of these things minted. But here's the kicker, we're talking about a very specific, very rare version of this penny that has no mint mark. No little D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, and not even a P for Philly. Just a blank space under the date. That missing mint mark is what makes this thing so special. Now, usually pennies without a mint mark are from Philadelphia, but in this case, it's a coin that should have had a mark, and didn't. That makes it a minting error. And collectors? Oh boy, collectors love an error. Especially one that's rare and clean and in good condition. Well, this coin checks all the boxes for extreme value. First, it's a legitimate minting error, not damage. Second, it's super rare. Only a handful are known to exist in pristine condition. Third, the condition matters big time. We're talking about a coin that's never been circulated, no scratches, no pocket lint, no soda stains, no toddler teeth marks, and finally, the demand. Coin collectors go absolutely bananas for these kinds of finds. When rare meets pristine meets demand, you get price tags that sound more like house listings than pocket change. In a recent auction, one of these babies fetched $1.1 million. That's a penny for your thoughts, and your mortgage. Alright, now the part you've been waiting for. How do you know if you've got the $1 million penny? Next, look under the date. There should be no mint mark. None. Zilch. Then, check the condition. If it's been through a washing machine or looks like it got in a bar fight with some quarters, it's probably not the $1 million version. If you've got one that looks sharp, clean, and shiny, then bingo, you might be sitting on a serious payday. A few years back, I was at a ball game, just a normal Saturday. I was digging through my pocket for a few coins to buy a hot dog, you know the kind, $6 and worth every greasy bite. I handed the guy a couple of quarters and a penny, and he paused and goes, "Hey, this penny doesn't have a mint mark, go figure." And he tells me later, "Dude, I think that penny might have been a rare one. I took a picture before you paid." Fast forward 2 weeks. He sends me an email, with the photo, and it's a 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny in damn near perfect condition. He got it appraised and yeah, it was worth a small fortune. That hot dog cost me about $1.1 million, folks. Let that be a lesson to us all. Always check your change. Get a box of pennies from the bank and start sorting. Sometimes people unload old change without realizing what they've got. Grandma's cookie jar might just be a gold mine. You'd be amazed what slips through the cracks. Invest in a good magnifying glass. Your eyes will thank you, and your wallet might too. It's about knowing what to look for and being consistent. This is a hobby that rewards patience and persistence, and sometimes, pure dumb luck. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1998 no mint mark Lincoln penny that's turning heads and breaking bank accounts. One tiny coin, one massive payday. And who knows, maybe the next millionaire is watching this video right now, reaching for their penny jar with shaky hands. Remember, not all treasure is buried. Some of it's jingling in your pocket. So before you toss that penny in the tip jar or drop it in a vending machine for a stale bag of chips, take a second. Look at the date. Check that mint mark. Because you never know when a 1-cent coin might be worth over $1 million. If you found this video helpful, or at least mildly entertaining, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. I've got plenty more coin tips, crazy rare finds, and stories that'll have you checking your pockets twice, and hey, share this video with a friend. Especially the one who's always broke. They might be sitting on $1 million and not even know it. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever walked past a penny on the sidewalk and thought, nah, not worth the back pain? Well, what if I told you one little penny could be worth over $1 million? Yep, I'm talking about the 1962 D. Lincoln penny. One of these bad boys sold for a whopping $1.2 million. That's right. 1 cent turned into more money than my first house, second car, and third midlife crisis combined. Now before you start flipping your couch cushions and emptying that old jar of coins next to the coffee pot, stick with me. We're gonna break down what makes this humble penny so valuable, what to look for, and how you might already have one sitting in a shoebox somewhere. I'll even share a little story about how I almost threw away a small fortune, and no, I'm not proud of it. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and let's dive deep into the incredible world of the 1962 D. Lincoln penny. You don't want to miss this one. The 1962 D. Lincoln penny was minted in Denver. That's what the little d under the date stands for. Over 1.7 billion of these were made. Yeah, billion with a B. So you're probably thinking, how in the world can a coin that common be worth $1 million? Now when we're talking about $1 million penny, we're not just talking any old 1962 D you dig out from between your car seats. We're talking about one in near perfect condition. Mint state 67 or higher. That's numismatic speak for a coin so shiny and flawless, it could moonlight as a mirror in a fancy hotel bathroom, and condition is just the beginning. Some of these rare gems have striking errors that make collectors drool. Double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, these are the lottery tickets of the coin world. For example, a 1962 D penny with a dramatic die crack and rich red luster fetched over $1 million at auction. A tiny flaw made it fabulously rare. Now let me tell you a little story that still haunts me to this day. Back in 2004, I helped my grandpa clean out his garage. You know, the usual weekend chore that involves more dust and spiderwebs than actual progress. We came across this old tackle box, not full of fishing gear, no, this thing was packed with coins. Old wheat pennies, buffalo nickels, silver dimes, the works. That I picked up a few, looked them over, shrugged, and said, nothing special, folks. I tossed that tackle box in the donate pile. You heard me right. And it hit me like a sack of uncirculated Morgans. One of those pennies I brushed off like lint on a jacket might have been a rare 1962 D in top condition. It had that beautiful deep red shine and looked untouched. To this day, I replay that moment in my head and imagine my future yacht sailing away without me. So learn from my mistake. If you come across a 1962 D penny, don't just glance and toss. First, check the mint mark, make sure it's a D. Then, check the condition. You want that coin looking crisp, clean, and full of that red luster. No scratches, no corrosion, no gunk from the bottom of your junk drawer. Next, look for errors. A double die on Lincoln's face or letters, a rim that's slightly off, or even a coin that's thicker or thinner than normal. These are signs you might have something special, and if you think you've got a winner, don't go running to the pawn shop down the street. Get it graded. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can verify the quality and authenticity. A top-grade 1962 D penny with eye appeal can go from pocket change to a 6- or even 7-figure payday. Let's put that in perspective for a minute. If you find one of these and sell it for $1.2 million, you could buy a nice house, a brand new car, fund your kids' college, and still have money left for a ridiculous coin collecting room with mood lighting. These coins aren't hiding in some vault at Fort Knox. They're in drawers, jars, boxes, even coin machines at the grocery store. I had a buddy who found a rare Lincoln penny in a tip jar at a local diner. He tipped $5, got 50,000 back. That's better odds than the lottery and with way less paperwork. So let's wrap this up before you sprint to your closet and start ransacking every shoebox you've ever owned. The 1962 Lincoln penny is a real sleeper coin. It looks like your average cent, but under the right circumstances, pristine condition, rare error, it could be worth more than your whole car collection. If you've got old change lying around, don't ignore it. Inspect it. Research it. You never know when a simple penny could change your life. And for the love of all things numismatic, don't throw it away like I did. Go check your coin stash. Dig into that change jar, rifle through Grandpa's old drawer, even check under the car seats. If you find a 1962 penny that looks promising, you might be sitting on a goldmine. And hey, if you enjoyed hanging out and learning about the hidden value of old coins, smash that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and coin collecting strategies coming your way. You never know which coin will be the next $1 million discovery. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground, gave it a little rub, and thought, meh, it's just a penny? Well, today you might change your mind forever. What if I told you there's a 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? Yeah, you heard that right, a single copper coin that could pay off your mortgage, fund your dream vacation, and still leave you with enough cash to buy a lifetime supply of barbecue chips. Now that's what I call change with attitude. I end this video. We're diving headfirst into the mysterious and surprisingly valuable world of the 1977 no mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll break down why it's so valuable, what to look for, and how you might be walking around with a tiny treasure in your pocket and not even know it. Plus, I've got a wild little story to share about the time I thought I found one and almost passed out in the middle of a gas station. So stick around, you don't want to miss this one. Alright, let's start with a little history lesson, but don't worry, no boring lectures here. Just the good stuff. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909, and it's one of the most collected coins in the world. In 1977, the United States Mint cranked out millions of these bad boys. They were made primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and here's where things get interesting: pennies struck in Philly don't have a mint mark. So technically, all 1977 pennies from Philadelphia have no mint mark. But hold your horses, that doesn't make them all $1 million coins. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what's the big deal then? I've probably got a whole roll of those under my couch cushions. And hey, maybe you do. But here's the catch: the one that sold for $1.3 million had something special going on. We're talking about an extremely rare error coin, folks. It's not just a regular 1977 penny without a mint mark. It had a unique combination of factors: pristine condition, minting errors, and collector demand that launched it straight into the Coin Hall of Fame. This coin was graded at a near-perfect level. Mint state 68 red. That's basically like finding a vintage Mustang that's never been driven and still smells like the factory floor. Some experts believe the coin may have had a minor doubling or misalignment, and that's like catnip to collectors. Anything unusual gets people throwing money like it's Vegas on payday. Combine all those factors with the sheer rarity of finding one that's perfectly preserved after nearly 50 years, and boom, $1 million coin. Now let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the coin jackpot. It was about 2 years ago, and I was digging through some old jars in my garage. You know the ones, full of buttons, rusty screws, and of course, loose change. I pulled out a 1977 penny with no mint mark and my heart skipped a beat. I held it up to the light like I was Indiana Jones discovering the Holy Grail. I jumped in my car and drove straight to a local coin shop, heart pounding, palms sweaty. I walked in, slammed the penny on the counter like I was about to change my life, and the guy behind the counter takes one look and goes, "Yeah, that's a regular one, buddy." I won't lie, I felt like I just got dumped by a coin. But hey, At least now I've got a funny story and a newfound obsession with checking every single penny I touch. So how do you know if you've got one of the real valuable 1977 no mint mark pennies? Get it graded professionally if you suspect it's in top-tier condition, and if it checks out, well, you might be sitting on a penny that's worth more than a Lamborghini. Also, keep in mind that coin values change depending on collector interest. The $1.3 million sale we're talking about? That happened at an auction where two wealthy collectors got into a bidding war. So don't count on every coin hitting that number, but it absolutely proves the potential is real. One of the most surprising stories in the coin collecting world. A humble little 1977 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that sold for $1.3 million. It's a reminder that treasures can hide in plain sight. You don't need a metal detector or a pirate's map. Sometimes, all it takes is a good eye and a little luck. If you've got an old jar of change sitting around, you better believe it's worth checking. You never know, your next trip to the gas station might just turn into $1 million moment. Now if you enjoyed this video and want more tips, stories, and strategies on coins worth money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got a lot more coming your way: rare quarters, hidden gems, and maybe even some coins you've been spending without knowing their value. Thanks for watching. Keep those eyes sharp, and remember, every coin has a story. Hey folks, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, man, I wish you were worth more than just 1 cent? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into a copper-colored miracle, the 1969 Lincoln penny that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That little coin jingling in your junk drawer might just be your retirement plan in disguise. Now I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth over $1 million? This sounds like one of those late-night infomercials where a guy in a sparkly suit tries to sell you magic beans. But no gimmicks here, this is the real deal. And we're not just talking about some rare coin buried in a billionaire's vault. We're talking about a coin that everyday folks like you and me have actually found in pocket change. So grab yourself a snack, maybe dig through that coffee can full of old coins your grandpa left behind, and stick around. Because by the end of this video, not only will you know why the 1969 penny is worth a small fortune, but you'll also have the inside scoop on how to spot one and what makes it so darn special. And don't worry, I'll throw in a personal story, one involving my own embarrassing moment at a coin shop that still makes me cringe to this day. Trust me, you'll want to hear it. Alright, let's rewind the clock back to 1969. The Beatles were still together, bell-bottoms were all the rage, and a penny could actually buy you something. The Denver Mint was churning out Lincoln pennies by the millions. But hidden among the sea of copper were a few that were, well, a little different. The star of today's show is the 1969 Lincoln penny, and that D is key. It stands for the Denver Mint, where these coins were made. Now, what makes this particular penny so valuable is a combination of rarity, condition, and something called a double die. Now before you zone out, I promise I won't get too technical here. Basically, a double die happens when the die that stamps the coin has a misalignment. Think of it like a printing press going wonky and giving the coin a ghost-like doubling effect on the letters or numbers. It's a minting mistake, and collectors go absolutely bananas over these things. Now here's where things get spicy. Most people are familiar with the famous 1969 double die, minted in San Francisco. But the 1969 D has long flown under the radar. The D mint version is much rarer and even harder to find in pristine condition. And when one shows up in mint state, that's when the price tag hits the 7-figure mark. A high-grade 1969 Lincoln penny in mint state can fetch as much as $1.4 million on the private market. That's enough to buy a house, a couple of sports cars, and still have change for a deluxe cheeseburger. And it all starts with a coin most of us wouldn't bend over to pick up from the sidewalk. Now let me slide in my personal story here, because this is where it gets good. So about 10 years ago, I walked into a coin shop with a plastic bag full of pennies. I'd been bitten by the collecting bug after watching a video like this one. I thought I had found something big, a 1969 penny with what I thought was a doubling effect. I strutted in like I was about to make it rain millions. I handed the coin to the shop owner, an old guy with thick glasses and an even thicker mustache. He looks at it for about 5 seconds, chuckles, and says, "Son, this ain't a double die. It's just dirty." I didn't give up. That little moment of humiliation taught me to keep learning, to get better at spotting real value. And sure enough, a few years later, I found a rare error coin in a roll of change from the bank. Didn't make me a millionaire, but it was worth enough to fund my next trip to Vegas. The bigger the better. Look closely at the date, especially the numbers. If you see a clear doubling effect, you might be onto something. Also, check the word liberty and the phrase "in God we trust." Those are the sweet spots where doubling tends to show up. Next, check the condition. Coins that are shiny, with little wear, will fetch a higher price. Coin grading companies like PCGS or NGC can help officially grade and authenticate your penny. If your coin passes the test, you're officially in the 1%, the coin collecting 1%, that is. Now don't go running to eBay and grabbing every 1969 penny you see. There are fakes out there, and plenty of regular coins being passed off as rare ones. That's why it pays, literally, to educate yourself and double-check everything. Pun absolutely intended. And by the way, if you're sitting there thinking, "Man, I wish I knew where to start," start with what you already have. Dig through your coin jar, your old wallets, heck, even check behind the couch cushions. You never know what little treasure is hiding in plain sight. While you're at it, talk to your older relatives. Grandma might have a jar of coins under the bed from the 60s and 70s. Who knows, she might be sitting on $1 million penny and using it as a bookmark. As of right now, that $1.4 million price tag is based on a few ultra-high-grade examples that have sold at private auctions. If you've got one in average condition with clear doubling, it still might go for tens of thousands. So even if it's not museum quality, it's still enough to pay off some debt or take that long overdue vacation. Collectors are always looking. Prices can go up or down depending on demand, but rare error coins like this one tend to only go up over time. So holding on to it, or selling it through the right channels, could be your ticket to a serious payday. So there you have it. The humble little 1969 Lincoln penny, the same one you might have tossed in a tip jar, could be worth $1.4 million. All it takes is a sharp eye, a bit of patience, and maybe a magnifying glass that doesn't fog up every time you breathe on it. Listen, coin collecting isn't just for history buffs and guys with monocles. It's for anyone who likes a good mystery, a good laugh, and a chance at finding something valuable in the everyday. Whether you're brand new to the hobby or you've been hoarding pocket change since the 80s, there's always something new to discover. Or at least gave you a chuckle. Do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and drop a comment below if you've got any coin stories of your own. I'd love to hear about your finds, your flops, or even your own dirty penny moment. And hey, don't forget to check your change. Because the next time someone hands you a penny, it might just be your lucky day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we uncover even more coins worth money and collecting strategies that could change your life, or at least your wallet. Alright folks, let me ask you something that might sound a little crazy. What if I told you that one single penny could be worth more than a house, a sports car, and probably all your monthly bills for the next 10 years combined? Sounds like a scam, right? But hang on, because this ain't no joke. There's a 1966 Lincoln penny with no mint mark that's worth a whopping $1.5 million. Yeah, million. With an M. Now before you go flipping your couch cushions or emptying that giant jar of change sitting in your closet since 2003, let's dive into what makes this little copper coin such a big deal. And trust me, this is one of those stories that'll have you checking every penny that comes your way from now on. But first, let me tell you how I stumbled into the wild world of coin collecting. Picture this. I was about 10 years old, digging around in my grandpa's garage. I wasn't looking for coins, I was actually looking for a wrench to fix my broken bicycle. Instead, I found an old metal tin filled with pennies. I thought, cool, candy money. Grandpa walks in and goes, "Hey kid, those pennies might be worth more than your bike." I laughed. He didn't. And that, my friends, was the beginning of my coin obsession. Now fast forward to today, and I'm here to help you figure out whether the change in your pocket might just change your life. Let's break it down. The 1966 Lincoln Penny. No mint mark. Why is this specific coin so special? First off, let's talk basics. In 1966, the U.S. Mint struck Lincoln pennies at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. But here's the kicker. In that year, mint marks were deliberately left off all coins. The mint was trying to discourage coin hoarding caused by the release of new coin compositions. So technically, number 1966 penny should have a mint mark. That makes the no mint mark penny pretty normal, right? Because not all pennies are created equal. Some of those 1966 pennies came out with very unique features. We're talking mint errors, striking mistakes, rare anomalies that make collectors go bananas. You see, there's one extremely rare version of the 1966 penny that has what's called a double die. That means when it was struck, the die hit it twice, slightly off the second time. This gives it a shadowed or doubled look on parts of the coin, especially the date and lettering. If you find a 1966 penny where the numbers or letters look like they had one too many cups of coffee and are jittering, you might have something special. Now, another thing that can skyrocket the value of this coin is its condition. We're talking about a grade called MS67 or higher, that's mint state 67. That basically means the coin looks like it was never touched. No scratches, no greasy fingerprints, not even a speck of dust. One of these in pristine condition, with the right error, can land a collector's jackpot. Back in recent years, collectors have been willing to drop big-time cash for super rare pennies. When the coin has historical context, scarcity, and a dramatic visual error like doubling, it's like catnip for collectors. There was a confirmed sale of a 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny with a dramatic double die and flawless condition that hit the auction block for, drum roll, $1.5 million. Yep. Somebody paid $1.5 million for a coin that could have fallen out of your grandpa's pocket while he was buying a cup of coffee in 1967. And get this, that's not even the only expensive penny out there. But we'll save those for another video. Step 1. Don't throw your pennies in a jar and forget about them. Start paying attention. Look at the date. Look at the lettering. Use a magnifying glass. And if something looks weird or off, like doubled letters, missing elements, or an unusual shine, don't shrug it off. Set that coin aside and do some research. Step 2. If you think you found something rare, don't take it to just any pawn shop or coin dealer. Some people will lowball you faster than you can say, numismatist. Instead, send it off to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll give you the official thumbs up or down, and they'll also help you understand its true value. Let me tell you about a guy I met at a coin show a couple of years ago. Nice guy. Wore overalls, had a thick southern accent, and looked like he was just there for the free coffee. Turns out, he'd been keeping an old penny in his sock drawer for 30 years because it looked funny. Turns out it was a rare 1966 double die penny in near mint condition. He had no idea what it was worth until a dealer offered him $800,000 on the spot. He didn't sell. A few months later, he got it graded, took it to auction, and walked away with $1.3 million. I asked him what he did with the money. He said he paid off his house, bought a brand new truck, and took his wife to Hawaii for the first time in their lives. All because of one copper penny he almost vacuumed up back in the 90s. Especially around Liberty and In God We Trust, it's worth the cost if it ends up being valuable, and if you're serious about getting into the hobby, grab yourself a basic coin magnifier, a reference book, and maybe even start sorting your coins by year and mint. You'd be amazed how many people discover little treasures sitting right under their noses. First, don't underestimate the power of pocket change. That boring old penny you just shoved into your cup holder might be worth more than your car. Second, keep an eye out for 1966 Lincoln pennies, especially ones with no mint mark and visible errors like doubling. Those are the golden tickets. And finally, if an old rusty coffee tin full of coins in your grandpa's garage sparked my love for collecting, who knows what you might find with just a little curiosity and a magnifying glass. if you had fun hanging out today and learned something new, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and ring that little bell so you never miss a tip on coins that could make you rich. We've got tons more videos coming your way with wild stories, valuable coins, and collecting strategies that just might change your life. Alright, I'm off to go dig through my sock drawer again. Who knows, maybe that penny I dropped last week is my $1 million ticket.